Welcome to Spirit School. I'm Danielle Searancke, a medium and spiritual mentor and storyteller with over a decade experience, here to guide you through the profound intersections of spirituality, healing, and self-discovery. Spirit School is more than a podcast. It's a sanctuary, a place where you can connect with the wisdom of the unseen world, explore the depths of your own soul, and uncover the boundless life force energy within. Whether you're stepping into your spiritual gifts, navigating a healing journey, or seeking tools for a life filled with intention and meaning, you belong here. In each episode is a beacon of light, blending heartfelt stories, practical teachings, and reflections from my own path. Together, we'll celebrate the magic in the mundane and discover the extraordinary in everyday moments. Through Spirit School, we co-create a world where hope thrives, inspiration uplifts, and the power of spirit is undeniable. Welcome to Spirit School. Let's continue this journey of light and transformation together. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spirit School. I hope you are all doing well. I know we are a few weeks into 2025, and what a year this month has been. Am I right? Absolutely. And I have been asking the spirit world for a little while now on how I could be of service. How can I help? How can I be a force of light, a force of hope, a force of forward movement in empowering ways? And I have been getting a lot of inspiration to kind of reboot the podcast a little bit more, to continue to share my voice. Over the past 2 years out of 6, Spirit School, the podcast, celebrated 6 years a couple of months ago. And you may be able to tell through surfing through my podcast that my last episode was with Marianne Williamson. And even in the past year and a half, I have been in a bit of a preservation state, and it has been really beautiful for my soul. It's been tricky on the mind because the mind continues to tell us to do things like from a place of pressure, from a place of lack. And I have chosen to be more choosy about my time, choosy about my presence, more protective over my energy, what goes out, what comes in. It has not been a flawless divine practice, but it's been a practice nonetheless. And as I've been sitting in deeper sense of community with my own community in Spirit School, and as I engage with my peers around the world, other spiritual teachers, other people who are leading communities and a big body of work, I realize we are all experiencing and sensing incredibly similar things. To be sure, that is quite obvious as a collective, especially for those of us who are more sensitive or more attuned to energy. We're going to be picking up what the collective puts down. And that can get a little bit tricky because it can get noisy. It can get noisy in our energetic field and get noisy in the brain. And so it was important for me to be able to take some time into preservation mode so that I can be really intimately clear on what my voice is, what my beliefs are, what my voice is, what I stand for, what I speak on behalf. And sometimes it does take a bit of preservation and inward reflection to recommit and get more clarity on that. And one thing that has been abundantly clear for me since November, and if you're in the Spirit School space, you know a lot more about the context to the story, but the spirit world and the sun itself has been very influential for me these past few months on 2025 being a year of light, the year of the sun. I had this come through in incredibly divine ways. I shared the story in length in a live in the free Spirit School space, link below in the show notes if you care to join us there. But I continue to ask Spirit how I can be of service as a way to step out of all the noise in the world and focus all this power and this energy on something good. Because let's face it, it is powerful. All this uncertainty, all the fear, all the shifts, all the anxieties, all the changes, all the instability, all of it is powerful. And it has a lot of power to it. And one thing I have learned through all the years of doing mediumship, 11 years now, of learning about the world of energy, of learning how to be a conduit and a conductor of this energy, that when the power is there, we can use the power for whatever we want. That is energetic sovereignty. And so when this collective energy is so intense and so strong, I have the opportunity to be a channel and conduit for this energetic field and bring through what energy I want to see more in the world. And that is one of hope, that is one of light, that is one of love, and that is one of healing that shit and moving forward and progressing forward. You are not listening to this podcast if you are not in some way engaged with the world of energy or the world of your own inner healing and light. So my hope is with this season 2, if you will, of the podcast, that I focus more on these inspirational messages from spirit, from my own spirit, from the spirit world, from the world of energy. And today the spirit world and the world of energy wanted me to speak on beliefs. And one thing I do when the spirit world gifts me a word to start upon is I start playing back in my own experience of all the different times I've interacted with the word and the vibration and the intention of belief. And I would say on my mediumship journey, the first thing that I recall is a quote that I first heard from, I think it was John Holland, and it was an Instagram post, and it was years ago, like 2014, 2015, very early on in my mediumship development journey. And I remember a quote that he said, "It's not I'll believe it when I see it. It's I'll see it when I believe it." And that took me aback because I had, of course, been from the mindset not that long before I heard this quote that this energy of like, prove it. I have to prove it to myself. It has to be real and tangible before me for me to be able to believe that this is something that I can do or this is something that anyone could do. Speaking about mediumship and channeling and spirit connection. And I remember thinking it was probably one of the first perspective shifts I had for myself in those early days around leaning more into the belief that anything is possible for me. Now, it is very far leap to go from, I don't think that this is possible for me, and I don't have this belief that this is accessible to me, to I am going to blindly believe that this is true for me and that I can do this. That is a big gap. So what happens between the skepticism and the radical belief is heal that shit. There's a lot of healing that's got to take place to get from that initial point to a place of unwavering belief in yourself. And that is, in fact, a large part of the spiritual journey. So the whole quote around "you'll see it when you believe it" has been on my heart for a long time. And I have seen cases where people maybe hadn't thought about a certain thing. I hear about angel miracles. Angel miracles is something that I seem to research every year. Around Christmas time, just for some reason, it's my own personal cycles. I tend to get very curious about miracles, and I tend to research, has there been any kind of cool angelic miracles that have occurred in this past year? And one of the things that I see consistently come up when it comes to these angel miracles is the people who experience these miracles aren't people who wonder about miracles. They're not ones who seem to not believe or believe in them. So there are people who will have miraculous experiences no matter where their beliefs lie. But those instances are very important for the formation of their beliefs from that moment on. What do they believe to be true? And our beliefs are incredibly powerful. I believe that a lot of the beliefs that we have, especially as we are growing up, are taught to us. They are influenced to us by the systems and structures that are placed around us, our family systems, our education systems, the extracurricular systems that we find ourselves in. All of these experiences and people and programs of influence early on will help us form our beliefs. And as we become older and we start to have our own experiences, our beliefs start to expand and evolve because new truths start to come in. These new truths might come in and enhance and inspire current beliefs, or they may come in and contradict and create some friction around beliefs that you held to be true. So the journey around beliefs is quite colorful and expansive. To speak more personally on this topic of beliefs and to add a bit of color into the conversation, the second experience that I recall around my own personal relationship with the word and experience of belief was when I had a reading with my then first mentor. It was a mediumship reading. It was before I started the mediumship training journey with this individual, but I had been to a group reading and received a beautiful contact, and I invested in a private sitting after that. And I remember one of the first things that this individual said to me was, "Do you know that you can do this too? And I will be getting readings from you one day." And my knee-jerk instantaneous reaction was to push that away and say, no, the angels are not going to speak to me. I had no belief that the spirit world would have any interest in engaging with somebody who had lived a colorful life like I had lived. And when I say colorful, you have to be a long-time listener to get it when you get it. But of course, we are not Puritans over here. We have lived a very expansive life. And I was obviously carrying a bit of shame around some of the choices I had made early on in my life. And I could see how the beliefs around myself stayed within that vibration. And I continued to make choices that didn't have the belief in my divinity, the belief in my own nature, which is my own loving light. I couldn't see any of that because all I believed about myself is that I struggled and I continued to make poor decisions for myself. And that was the belief that I carried. So when spirit came back into my life in probably one of the most profound ways, I didn't believe it. I did not believe it was possible for me. And in fact, I started my spiritual journey coming from a deficit in the belief system meter. It was a complete deficit. In fact, I think that my journey took as long as it did because I spent so much of that time recreating new beliefs about myself and new beliefs about the spirit world and new beliefs about the world of energy and believing that I deserved a place to be a voice for the spirit world, that I was worthy of that. And it was a long healing journey for me to start really leaning into belief and trust around myself on this path. As I speak about this, my door at Spirit School is like vibrating and shaking. And I can't tell if it's an earthquake or it's just energy moving. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to leave that in and not edit that out. So when it came time to the third experience that came to my awareness as I was contemplating on the topic of belief was around forwarding in my journey around mediumship and having belief that, yes, I am a voice for the spirit world. Yes, mediumship is accessible for me. Yes, expanding my beliefs to the point where I believe it's accessible for anyone. Once you learn about how energy works, of course it's accessible to each and every one of us. But when you advance along and you become a little bit more known, you realize that there's a lot of expectations out there placed upon you. And there's a lot of expectations around this work and what it should look and sound like. And there's in fact a lot of criticism out there when people don't meet up to a version of somebody's beliefs about what this work should look and sound like. And it can get really easy to get tripped up by that and caught up in that kind of negativity or criticism, if you will, around this. And with mediumship being so highly visible and televised, it makes sense why there's more expectations on it than any other spiritual modality that may be out there, because it is so highly visible and exposed. And unfortunately, one of the things that I'm trying to restore balance to within the space of mediumship through my work in rematriating mediumship is around the overwhelming prioritization that good mediumship is based off of what you put out, what you produce, and how you produce it. And a lot of the criticism I've seen in the space has been around the output and the production and optically what it looks and sounds like, foregoing some of the other aspects of mediumship around space holding, around listening, around the healing energy that can move through you if you can see yourself as a true healing force, not just in the words that leave your mouth, but in the presence that you bring to every single session. And it's very easy to get tripped up on this because it's loud and it's noisy and it's sensational. And it was something that tripped me up for a long time. And I remember a few years ago, which was a really pivotal moment for me. I've moved beyond the belief that this is accessible for me. I'm well on my path. But this belief that I'm good enough, this belief that I'm as good as I should be, this belief that I might be missing something because it doesn't quite match up to what the critics say it should look and sound like. And I was walking along the Mamquam River in Squamish, if you are aware of the Mamquam River. It's a beautiful place where the eagles come every winter. And I remember speaking to Skylar through my heart and pretty much asking, will I continue to improve? Will I ever meet that holy grail of what mediumship will look like to avoid and escape any criticism? Trying to play it safe and not get hurt. Of course, that's always like our initial way of being. And I remember Skylar placing a thought into my heart that stuck with me for a long time. And he said, you are able to get in mediumship whatever you believe you can get. In fact, your beliefs are the only thing keeping you from the fullest expression of your mediumship. And I kept getting all these different inspirations around belief and lack of belief being the only barrier in my mediumship and what I could accomplish with it. And things don't happen fast for me in my world, as you know. I'm a slow learner. That's why I've been podcasting for 6 years, and I've been very honest about my path with you all. It did take me a couple more years with this teaching in my heart from the spirit world that in fact it is my beliefs that are keeping me from being the clearest channel for the divine. And so it has been a couple years of looking at all these beliefs and all these things that I believe to myself, which when I look at them really closely, they're not beliefs that I formed from my own heart. They're usually colored with different projections placed upon me, placed upon the art of mediumship or spirit communication. A lot of it has been impressed upon me. And when you get to know the world of energy, you learn really clearly. It's one of the first things I teach in mediumship development is energetic sovereignty. Once you understand how the world of energy works, you don't have to be a victim to it anymore. Okay, I can see where this belief is blocking the energy, and I have my own processes, which are different every single time. There's tons of processes I have on how to move from disbelief to belief. And also understanding this teaching that our beliefs are our choices. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, there is a season of our humanity where our beliefs are really formed based off of the structures that we find ourselves within. But our frontal cortex develops around 25. I think that there's a good case that once we reach a certain part of human maturity and spiritual maturity, our beliefs are our birthright. They are our divine sovereign choices. We get to choose what we believe to be true. And much like the wisdom that John Holland said early on in my development career was, we will experience what we believe more of, right? We will experience more of what we believe. And so in that way, our beliefs are very intrinsically tied to how we live our life, how we engage with other people, how we show up in the world. It informs the type of healers we are, the type of impacts that we can create. And so Spirit is very much encouraging us during this year of light, the year of the sun, to really cast a bright light on the things that we believe about ourselves. And are these beliefs about ourselves helpful? Are they even ours, right? So what I thought I was trying to finish earlier was around, once you realize the world of energy and you realize the impacts that these beliefs have on your heart, on your spirit, on your humanity, you have a really empowering and scary choice to make if you're going to keep cheesing this belief or if you're going to pivot it, enhance it, expand it. And that is energetic sovereignty, and that is divine free will. So this is a spiritual message for you as you enter this new season. I think tomorrow Aquarius season starts. Hoorah! I don't know what that's going to bring, but Capricorn season has been something else, right? It's in the spiritual space. We have new cycles starting all the time, every moon cycle. It's not just New Year's. It's not just when the clock turns from 2024 to 2025. It's so cool being a spiritual baddie because you get new moons, full moons, new day of the week, new astrological seasons. There are so many opportunities for newness. And in fact, every moment is an opportunity to choose something new. Choose a new thought, choose a new belief, choose a new environment. And this is really the co-creation process that we have as humans who are spiritual and connected into a spiritual way of being. So I want you to have fun with this. I don't want you to be hard on yourself with this. If this is something that rings true for you, that you personally feel that you are holding on to beliefs that are maybe keeping you small, holding you back, have you hiding, challenge those. And just know that one of Spirit's messages is that it's time for you to soar. It's time for you to literally fly at the parallel of light. And there is an opportunity for you to also witness and observe in equilibrium the accomplishments that you have made this far. I get the sense that there are some of you who will take this opportunity to be hard on yourself. And I only say that because Spirit was showing me, being me, oh, you believe this about yourself. When are you going to let go of this belief? That's not what this is about. So if you catch yourself being hard on yourself, I encourage you to reflect on whose voice is that being hard on yourself? Is it actually yours? Is it a past version of you? Is it somebody else's influence on you? And let it it go. Let it absolve into the light that surrounds us all. I started to realize last year as I found unwavering belief in my capacities around mediumship. It was actually during the TV pilot filming where I had a disbelief that I could do as much as they wanted me to do. I felt like I had a belief that my capacity was X amount, and what the TV show was asking me to do was well beyond what I believed to be true about my own capacity. And I remember going into the Spirit School Collective after that filming experience. It's where I give all the back behind the scene information into what I do here at Spirit School. And I remember saying to them, I am never going to question my capacity again. And that experience completely transformed the belief I had around what I was capable of in mediumship. And that one experience, and that was in 2023, that one experience, I noticed my readings after became so much easier, to the point now where even on Friday I went into the collective and did a group reading for everyone there. No nerves, no questioning myself, no disbelief that the channeling will happen. It's like I broke through this disbelief about myself, and it completely shattered beliefs around mediumship that I held to be true. At every moment, every reading, every connection, every group experience, I started to realize, wow, it's so clear now, because I don't question myself anymore. I don't disbelieve that this is my path and that this is what I am meant to be doing. It's like the belief is so strong that the channeling is so easy. So I love that Spirit's bringing through these messages today, because it is something I've been thinking about for the past many months. I remember at the Bespoke Market where we do group reading or individual readings on a train for people in the community here in Squamish. And one of the students who comes and does readings every time, and she's beyond a student, she's a professional working in-demand medium now. And so I remember her asking me, like, I have to read for this person again for the third time. Will I be able to come up with more things? And I said, well, just tell Spirit. Only new things coming forward. Thank you. And by making this type of declaration, you are pretty much throwing your belief into the arena that only new things are going to come through. And only new things came through for her in that sitting. And so I experimented with that. I might have shared this story on the last podcast as well, but the next reading I went and did, I experimented with it too, because it worked so well for her. And I was like, this is going to be the best reading I've ever had. And it really was. And I did that the next time too. And I had no disbelief that it wouldn't. So I have such unwavering belief in my mediumship now. It's so much more enjoyable and easier. And I'm convinced that belief in self is the only missing link that keeps developing mediums from the clarity in their channel. Is their beliefs. That is the only thing that they need to work on to build their confidence plus repetition, because we know doing things again and again will make us feel more confident. So repetition and this believing in yourself that it is possible is completely important on this path. So I have myself been really reflecting lately on my beliefs and how it is so important to continuously look at them, challenge them, expand them. It really does help us in the clarity of our channel. So my hope is that some of the messages that came through in today's episode for you brought some food for thought, brought some inspiration, brought some empowerment into your life. I will be back really soon with more messages from the spirit world for you as we navigate this human experience as spiritual baddies wanting to bring more light, healing, hope, and love into the world. So thank you for being here with me on another episode of Spirit School. If you're interested in being part of the movement, in enhancing more light into the world, please come join us at Spirit School. Here's more information on how to do that. Thank you for joining me on Spirit School today, friends. I am so grateful for this time that we spent together exploring the power of spirit, the depths of healing, and the magic of self-discovery. My hope is that each episode leaves you feeling inspired, empowered, and connected to the boundless energy of your own soul. If you've enjoyed today's episode, I invite you to take the next step on your journey by joining me in the Spirit School community. Inside, you'll find a vibrant space filled with like-minded souls, access to exclusive teachings, live mentorship opportunities, and the support to deepen your trust in your spiritual gifts while embracing your humanity. Visit myspiritschool.com to learn more and become part of this growing family of seekers and light bringers. Let's continue to co-create a rich life with spirit, love, and purpose together. Until next time, keep shining your light and walking your soul's path. Take care, my friends, and be well.